All right. All right. All right. Got a little bit of good news just a few minutes ago, and that's how we're going to open the show. I don't know if y'all saw it, but we got some breaking news. And it's actually some good breaking news. Don't worry, we have plenty of bad news too. It'll be balanced out. And I got to do a shortened episode today. What's up, Amir? How are you? Good to see you. What's up, Tim? Cheers. I have a different mug today. I have an owl mug. So I'm drinking out of that. We'll get started here shortly because I have a lot to talk about and we have to end early because there's a lot of news going on that I'm really stoked about. Cheers to you. And I drink water out of a mason jug. What's up, the Jinx? How are you? Happy day. Happy Tuesday. The Save the Net bill passed. Well, not the bill passed, but it passed the committee. The Save the Internet Act passed the committee, and it was a clean bill that passed the committee. Hello, Shannon. How are you? Good to see you. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday morning. We'll get started here shortly because I have to end early. I'm doing a radio taping shortly after this. Let's see. All right, and the chat just froze up on me. Let's see if reloading helps. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I don't even know if we're live, though. I should probably find that out. Sorry, guys. This sort of just went blank on me. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. All right, I'm back. All right, guys. Sorry about that. All right. We're back. Shannon, you mentioned the Article 13. Let's talk about that tomorrow for sure. I gotta get a refresher on that before I talk about it, because the last time we covered it on the show was a while ago, and admittedly, I'm a little foggy, but I did see that it went through today. So please tweet me an article about that. We will talk about it tomorrow, for sure. But we do have some good news, guys. There is a little bit of good news, which is awesome. We'll go ahead and kick in with that right away. I'm having some chat issues today, which sucks, but we'll figure it out. I just had to reload something. I might have to reload it again, but whatever. We're just gonna dive in because I need to end the show a little earlier today because I have a radio taping I need to go to. So let's rock and roll, guys. Check this out. Oh, what just happened here? Breaking news. Markup of H.R. 1644, the Save the Internet Act Subcommittee on Communications and Technology. They just voted on it. They just voted on it. I watched it live. Oh, man. It is killer cinema. Who votes aye? Who votes no? The committee requests a count. Aye, no. But I was watching and I was like, yeah, damn it. Yeah, damn it. Yeah, damn it, yeah, damn it, yeah. It passed 18-11. Now, when it first passed, I went, yes, but then I wasn't sure. You know, like somebody watching the NFL where it's like they catch a touchdown, but you're not sure both feet got in bounds, and you're like, yeah, wait. That's what I did when it passed. I was like, yeah, wait, because I didn't get to watch the entire hearing. I didn't get to watch the entire live stream of the amendments hearing. So I didn't know if a clean bill got through or not. I didn't know if it was the Save the Internet bill and it was a clean bill, or if they made a bunch of horrible amendments to it, making it useless. I wasn't quite sure. It seemed like it was a clean bill based on how the people voted. You know, the people that voted yes were proponents of net neutrality. The people that voted no were anti-net neutrality. So I was led to believe a clean bill got through, but I wasn't positive because I didn't see the whole thing. So much like a person cheering on a touchdown where one foot might have been out of bounds, I was like, yeah, wait. But good news, both feet landed in bounds. A clean bill passed. FirstFreePress.net tweeted out that a clean bill passed. Then Fight for the Future also tweeted out that a clean bill passed. So the clean bill passed the subcommittee, which means it will now go to the House floor likely in April. So we'll go over to the article on it here. So here's the article from Boing Boing. And again, this is breaking. Key net neutrality vote Tuesday. The whole internet is watching. The whole internet was watching, and it passed. All right. So the hearing started, it did pass. To pass a clean bill with no bad amendments, which is what happened, we need everyone to call their members of Congress and make sure they know the whole internet is watching. Well, I guess enough people did. Okay, so if we get the bill out of committee without any bad amendments, again, breaking news, we did. That happened. Sweet. All right, so we did get it out. Then we have a solid shot at winning the next big vote on the House floor the week of April 8th. All right, so that's the big thing now. The week of April 8th, there's going to be a vote on the House floor to forward this bill, the Save the Internet Act of 2019. There's a good chance it'll get through the House, Senate, and White House. So, still got a long way to go. But this is an opportunity to really hold some feet to the fire. This is an opportunity to keep the battle for net neutrality going. And, you know, hopefully in 2020, we have a progressive in the White House. So we'll see what happens. But this is good news. It's good that it passed this committee. It's good that a clean bill passed the committee. We are one step closer to reinstating net neutrality protections. And you're hearing it here first. It just passed. I watched the live stream. And for all of those who tuned in yesterday we had a special interview with Evan Greer. Evan works at Fight for the Future. She is also a fantastic musician who has a new album coming out. Let me see the she, her, they, them. I want to just make sure I got it in I said it in the right order of words. But that album's coming out April 5th. It's a fantastic album. I got to preview it. So yesterday we talked about both her album and we talked about net neutrality and this hearing. So we got a victory today. Shout out to everyone who went to battleforthenet.com and called the representatives. Shout out to everyone that did that. We have to continue that because now it's going to the House week of April 8th. We'll likely see some further movement on it. But the good news is we got a clean bill through the committee. We got the clean Save the Internet Act of 2019 through the committee. They tried to do some shenanigans. It didn't work out, and it passed 18-11. So next step, it's going to be in the House, and it's a clean bill in the House. So this was a victory for net neutrality. Still got a long way to go, but a victory nonetheless. And there's a little bit of good news to start your Tuesday. Sadly, you know me, I usually like to do bad news first. But before we switch topics here, Ken shares this article that's sort of in the vein of net neutrality, because we all know that where do we go right after net neutrality? Well, we go to municipal broadband. We should take the internet out of the hands of the big telecom lobbyists, of the big cable companies, and put it into the hands of cities and communities. So, boom, check this out. Electronic Frontier Foundation, this is an article from them. The U.S. desperately needs a fiber for all plan. Okay, what would that look like? We have a real coming broadband access crisis in the United States. Data from the government and independent analysis show that we are falling behind the world. This crisis comes from the fact that fiber-to-the-home deployment, the alternative to your gigabit cable monopoly, is languishing and slowing down across the board. Well, this also has to do with the fact that we essentially allowed corporations and big cable companies to form an organized duopoly where they just kind of price gouge consumers and they put their profit motive above providing quality service for people. So if it's not worth it for them to build internet infrastructure in certain places, in their minds, they just don't do it. And they have shittier internet than they're capable of. Why? Because you don't have any other options. What are you going to do? Who are you going to complain to? A third-party contractor. That's who you're going to complain to. Because when you call Comcast, that's what you get. You don't even get an employee of Comcast most of the time. You get some third-party contractor. All right. So anyway, getting back to this. In contrast to the United States, countries around the world are modernizing their telecommunications infrastructure. They are actively pushing fiber across the board, with advanced Asian markets like South Korea and Japan already finished, and countries in the EU heading towards universal access. China is predicted to have more than 5 times, around 80% of households, totaling at 193.5 million homes, the U.S. number of fiber gigabytes by 2023. So the big difference between the United States and the rest of the advanced economies around the world is that the U.S. is the only country, I love this article, that believes having no plan will solve this issue. It's like healthcare. It's like us with healthcare. You know what? Not doing anything will fix it. No, you have to frickin' do something. You need to have policy. If we just don't do anything, no, you have to do something. But just like healthcare, we're the same with community and city-run internet. Why are we the same on these two issues? Well, because the big pharma lobby doesn't want universal healthcare, single-payer, nonprofit healthcare. And the big tech companies, the big cable companies, they don't want municipal, city-run broadband all across the country. That's why. That's why we're the same. It's not because the United States honestly believes that not doing these things would have positive results. It's not because our elected officials don't realize that. All right, so this means 5G wireless is not going to meet most people. Where things stand now without a fiber plan, very small ISPs and local governments with limited budgets are at the front line of deploying fiber to the home to fix these problems. But policymakers from federal, state, and local level need to step up and lead. At least 19 states still have laws that prohibit local governments from deploying community broadband projects. Worse yet, both AT&T and Verizon are actively asking the FCC to make it even harder for small private ISPs to deploy fiber. This is why we need to push our elected officials and regulators for a fiber for all people plan to ensure everyone can obtain the next generation of broadband access. Otherwise, the next generation of applications and services won't be usable in most of the United States. So, what they're saying is there's so much red tape at the local level, which there is. We've talked about that on this show. When a community wants to do its own broadband project, usually these big cable companies already have contracts in place to try to prohibit them from doing this, and they need to figure out a way around it. Also, as this article reminds us, Verizon and AT&T are actively pursuing the FCC to stop that from happening in the first place. Oh, and by the way, they're claiming it's a First Amendment issue. That's what they're claiming. They're claiming that communities building their own broadband and telling the ISPs to go pound sand, or forcing the ISPs to compete with city-owned internet. The big cable companies are telling the FCC that violates the big cable companies' First Amendment rights. Remember when we talked about that on the show? It violates their First Amendment rights somehow. Isn't that interesting? We have the freedom of speech to price gouge you. Does that sentence make sense? No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. They're trying to make this a First Amendment case. Like their ability to price gouge your internet access, their potential to dictate what you see and don't see on the internet, their potential to create fast lanes and slow lanes, their potential to make some websites load slow and others load fast. That's their First Amendment right to impose what you can see and hear. That's what they're claiming. That's what these big cable companies are trying to claim in court. First of all, if you're one of the attorneys doing this for them, I get it. You know, attorneys, it's their job, whatever. But how do you sleep at night if you are an attorney trying to make that case for some of the big cable companies? Holy shit. I'm sure you're getting paid insane amounts of money. But man, no matter what number stares back at you in your bank account, there's got to be that moment where you're just alone right before you fall asleep every night. And how do you not just look in the mirror and go, I'm helping these big predatory companies screw over people's internet access. I'm making this First Amendment claim for these big corporations. I'm basically abusing what the First Amendment is all about. I'm also abusing my knowledge and my power. I'm using my knowledge, my legal knowledge, to make a mockery of the Constitution and to pad the pockets of a couple corporate CEOs. How do you not feel that way right before you fall asleep? If there's any corporate attorneys out there for Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, and you're working on that case, how do you do it? Email me and let me know. I'd love to interview you. I'd love to be like, how do you sleep at night doing this? Like, how could you take that case? Like, be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Well, money, that's out, but wow. So anyway, they're saying we need a bigger fiber for all plan on the state and potentially federal level, which I think would be an interesting approach. It'd be an approach that I would be for as well. But I think that since we can't even get net neutrality policy through quite yet, since we're still fighting the front lines there, the idea of some type of fiber for all thing coming to the table anytime soon, I just don't see it happening. I think we have to build it from the ground up. So I think it's important that cities still try to get their own municipal projects going. Because what happens is, you know, if Santa Monica does it, Burbank's going to see what's Santa Monica doing. They're going to want to do it. The Charlemont, Massachusetts is doing it, so eventually Boston's going to want to do it. Tacoma, Washington's doing it, so now Seattle's trying to do it. Chattanooga, Tennessee's trying to do it, so now the state of Tennessee actually has a fiber plan for the entire state. The state of Tennessee, a relatively conservative state, but they're seeing how Chattanooga's benefiting from their city-owned internet. So now they want to do something statewide. So I'm not against a fiber for all plan, obviously. I think it's a great idea. But I think that getting there, we still have to fight on the local level because that's how change is going to happen. It's going to happen from the bottom up. And that's why I'm fighting for municipal broadband in Pasadena, where I live. Pasta and myself, you guys know Pasta. He helps book the guests for this show, and he has his own show, The Convo Couch. Pasta and I are going to go to the city planner's office next with a proposal to try to get some people involved to formulate a real plan on how to get this in Pasadena. And you guys know I've been documenting everything here on this channel. So that's a fiber for all. Hopefully we get there. But we got to start local. That's what I think. All right. Let's see what's next in the docket here. All right, we're going to go to some like shitty news first, and then we're going to go to some good news to end. And remember, we do have to end early today. I do apologize for that, and I apologize for the chat issues earlier as well. But check this out. Pentagon authorizes diversion of $1 billion to build the border wall. Ugh, gross. The Pentagon has authorized the transfer of $1 billion to begin building a wall on the U.S.-Mexico border, over which Trump declared a national emergency. Trump declared a national emergency. We have a net zero immigration in this country. Most drugs that are brought in to the United States are brought in through ports of entry. And we have fewer undocumented immigrants in this country than we did 10 years ago. There is no emergency. There is no emergency. First of all, on a moral level, demonizing people that are coming to this country to try to get a better life is morally repulsive already. But even just statistically, this crisis that the Trump administration is making up is completely non-existent. The numbers just aren't there. It's completely bogus. And it's costing billions of dollars. By the way, which most Americans don't want the wall. Most don't. Because more oppose Trump than are for Trump, first of all. And even in Trump's base, some of them have, as of recent, according to polling, said this isn't worth it. This isn't worth shutting down the government. This isn't worth all this money. It's not worth it. So there is very little support for this wall. Very little. But, that would involve having a government that factors in public opinion. And ours doesn't, because it's a plutocracy. All right, let's see what else they're saying here. All right, so the first phase of funding will reportedly go towards 57 miles of an 18-foot-high fencing along the Yuma and El Paso sections of the border. By the way, none of the border towns want this, by the way. No border town wants this. Democratic lawmakers immediately condemned the news, saying the administration did not go through the appropriate channels and request permission from the Senate Appropriations Committee to divert the money from military personnel funds. In a letter to Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan, Democratic senators on the committee wrote, "We have serious concerns that the department has allowed political interference and pet projects to come ahead of many near-term critical readiness issues facing our military." So $1 billion. $1 billion. Think of all the things we could do with $1 billion. Instead, they're building this stupid wall. This wall that serves absolutely no purpose. This wall that is a policy idea that's caked in bigotry and racism. And that most of the country doesn't even want. But it's happening anyway. And throughout the past couple years, the media has been near silent on this. The media has done a terrible job at really amplifying how big of a waste of resources and how morally repulsive this wall is. The corporate media has done a terrible job on that. And so have the Democrats. And I single out the Democrats because they're supposed to be the opposition to Trump. They're not, but they're supposed to be. So that's very disappointing to hear. This is very disappointing news. And that's putting it very gently. All right, so ready for some more disappointment. Boom! House Democratic leaders unveil a health bill. They're going to unveil a health bill. Say that, but that's hard. Unveil health bill. Anvil health pill. They're going to anvil a health pill. They're anviling a health pill. The House Democratic leaders, they got a health bill out there, and it does not have Medicare for all. You want Medicare for all? Tough cookies. The House Dems, they ain't doing it. All right, so let's look at what they are doing. The House Democrats' divide over healthcare will be on full display today, that's Tuesday as of the recording of this, when leaders plan to fulfill their midterm election promise by rolling out comprehensive legislation to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. The bill aims to protect people with pre-existing conditions, which is as well as lower healthcare costs and reverse the Trump administration's move to weaken Obamacare. So they're not strengthening the Affordable Care Act. They're just trying to get it back to where it was. That's it. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, along with several committee chairs and freshman lawmakers, are set to unveil the legislation at a public event designed to mark the 9th anniversary. What's not in the bill? Anything resembling a universal Medicare for all plan, a version of which was introduced by Pramila Jayapal and Debbie Dingell of Michigan last month, and has more than 100 co-sponsors. Pelosi acknowledged the goal of universal health care in a statement over the weekend, saying, as we mark the 9th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, we reaffirm our commitment to this fundamental truth, that health care must be a right, not a privilege for all. But it's not about getting everyone health care. It's about ego, and it's about this incremental approach that's not really going to do anything. They're not even strengthening the Affordable Care Act. They're just getting it back to what it was. I mean, whenever you hear people talk about strengthening the Affordable Care Act, I've been asking for a long time. You've been asking for a long time. We've all been asking for a long time. What exactly does that mean? Nobody has a cohesive answer. And I'm sure this legislation will have more of the same. It will have more of nothing. Because you know what strengthening the Affordable Care Act means? You know what strengthening the Affordable Care Act should mean? Going to a single-payer Medicare for all system. Because that's how you strengthen something like the Affordable Care Act. Because the Affordable Care Act, what did it do? It let the insurance companies at the table. They got to go bye-bye. They got to go bye-bye. Because that's the problem with our system. That is the problem with our system. And you can say, well, Ron, even though most countries do have a universal single-payer style system, Switzerland, they also do private insurance like we do. And they rank better than us. Yeah, they're about 20th. We're a lot lower than that. That's true. Why do they rank higher than us, Ron, when they do a private system too, like we do? Well, because their private system is way, way different. Their private system has a lot more protections that the government oversees. In their private system, there is a basic universal coverage that everybody has and that everybody has to purchase, but it is overseen by the government, and no company can make a profit off of that coverage. So yes, it is private insurance, but there is a lot more oversight, which is why they're ranked so much higher than us. But because it's private insurance, that's why they're not ranked a lot higher. That's why they're not in the top 10. So we are the only industrialized nation that does healthcare the way we do. It is by far the most inefficient model. It is a predatory scheme, and it's a scam. And we just casually accept it. We just casually accept it because we've been spoon-fed the propaganda of socialized medicine, quote-unquote, for so many years. And we're finally starting to see through it. People are finally starting to say, yeah, you know what? We should all have healthcare. We should all just pay into the system. The government does the bookkeeping, and we can go see a doctor. We don't have to deal with all this red tape, middlemen bullshit anymore. That's what most of the country wants. Most of the country wants Medicare for all. But the Democrats, they won't even say it. And now they're unveiling this bill that's going to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. Which basically means just bring it back to what it was. And where was it? Well, 30 million people still don't have care. 30 million people. And it's Mitt Romney's healthcare plan. So the Democrats are unveiling a plan to strengthen a right-wing healthcare plan. They call it Obamacare because it's all about ego, and it's all about branding, and it's all about marketing, and it's all about just propagating their side. Why is it relevant that it's the 9th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act? Why is that relevant when it comes to trying to get everybody health care? Because this isn't about getting everybody health care. This is about ego, and this is about the hyper-partisan hack game between Republicans and Democrats, who at the end of the day are just part of one party, the money party. Who gives a shit that it's the anniversary of the Affordable Care Act? I can think of at least 30 million people that don't give a fuck. All right. So, last story I want to get to today, then I'm going to go to you guys, and then we're going to dismount early here. Because I have a taping that I have to do, so I have to sign out early. All right. As Uber gets ready to turn public, LA drivers prepare a strike. So I'll be honest, Tim shares this article. Thank you for sharing this, Tim. I saw a flyer about this. I saw a flyer in my town, Pasadena. I was walking down the street and I saw a flyer for Uber drivers potentially striking, and I was like, oh shit, what's this all about? But it was a flyer that had like it was taped to a pole or whatever. So I read it a little bit, but I was on my way to the gym. But I was like, I really hope I hear more about this. I hope I get to cover this. Was actually my first thought. I was like, I want to get your news on with Ron about this one. And thanks, Tim, we're going to. Cool. So let's read the article. As Uber gets ready to turn public, LA drivers prepare a strike. As Uber prepares to go public on the New York Stock Exchange, many drivers in the Los Angeles area hope their colleagues will join them in a strike Monday. Last week, Uber slashed per-mile pay from 80 cents to 60 cents in Los Angeles County and parts of Orange County. In response, the group Rideshare Drivers United, is seeking a 25-hour strike against both Uber and Lyft. The group, which now numbers nearly 3,000, has made a list of demands in what it calls a driver's bill of rights. Their demands include a 10% commission cap for Uber and Lyft, a minimum wage for a trip that corresponds to the one recently established in New York City, and a recognition of a driver-led organization that allows it to negotiate on the behalf of drivers without fear of retaliation. That is freaking awesome. In January, New York City enacted a $17 an hour and 22-cent minimum wage for all rideshare drivers. The first such pay policy in the U.S. came after a report by the New York City Taxi and Limousine Commission that found that almost 20% of all rideshare drivers receive food stamps, 40% receive Medicaid, and 16% have no health insurance. The demonstrators faced significant obstacles in organizing, primarily due to the individual nature of the work, since drivers only interact with apps and not each other. This has I always like a good pun. This has fueled concern. This has fueled concerns that there is zero emissions communication between the drivers. You know what I'm saying? You know, do you get me? Huh? I'm sorry. All right. The demonstrators faced significant obstacles in organizing, primarily due to the individual. Yeah. We already read that part. All right. All right, so Rob Mead, an Uber driver in Reno, Nevada, shared a story with The Guardian about how he made a measly $3.75 an hour after expenses. You always hear those stories. And Uber is facing multiple lawsuits in the UK. There are currently an estimated 900,000 active Uber drivers in the US, close to 3 million globally. As the company prepares itself to go on the stock market, many drivers remain skeptical they will reap any of the benefits and will be put on the wayside as Uber tries to look good for its potential investors. With the demonstration Monday and other actions, they hope that they can at least have their voices heard. So, and this is from yesterday, so I'm assuming that... So I don't know if... I'm assuming the strike means next week. I'm assuming that doesn't mean it already happened. But, I think they got to strike for more than a day. They got to strike. I feel like for this to be effective, they would need to strike for a couple days. They would need, and then people would need to see like how it changes, how like, oh, no drivers are available in this big metropolitan area. And then Lyft and Uber are going to see that hit their pocketbook. And they're going to be like, okay, we got to meet their demands. But I know that's easier said than done, again, because as the article points out, a lot of these drivers, they don't see each other. They just interact with the app, first of all, so that makes organizing more difficult. And second of all, you know, let's be real, a lot of drivers, they rely on what they do each day. You know, a lot of drivers, you know, they have other jobs. This is a part-time thing. For some, it's full-time, but they kind of rely on it. And, Uber and Lyft drivers, like a lot of other workers in the United States, like most workers in the United States, are living paycheck to paycheck. And they can't really afford to see a couple days of income go out the window. Most Americans can't. So that's why there aren't more massive strikes in the U.S. That's why you don't see that as much, because it's very difficult. And I certainly understand that. So we'll see what happens here. I saw the flyer. We'll see. We'll continue to watch this unfold, because I'm sure if one demonstration isn't all that effective, they'll do another one. So we'll see what happens. But I stand with the drivers. I am very happy to see they're forming an organization. It seems like a union-esque organization that I hope becomes just a full-fledged union that will kind of support their needs, and their demands should be met. Because without drivers, it's just an app that takes up space on people's phones. So Uber and Lyft, you need your drivers. Treat them right. All right, let me see what you guys are saying. And that is how today's show will end. So I actually don't have Uber. Dave, hello from Italy. You are doing good work. Ciao, Dave. Come stai oggi? Chris Hedges is heading to Paris. It's pretty cool. Snork says, I almost did Uber when I was unemployed. Ciao, Austin. Come stai? And Austin says, gig economy is the best sham America offers, which is how you know we are broken. Yeah. Yep. All right. And I have a super chat. Schultzy, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for your diligence and hard work covering this issue, Ron. It's important and it's barely covered by anyone but you. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I'm assuming you're referring to municipal broadband and net neutrality. It is not covered enough. There are people covering it. Mikey over at the Humanist Report does excellent work on net neutrality. We're doing a lot of net neutrality stuff over at the Jimmy Dore Show too. So it's one of those issues that it's just not. I mean, it's such an important issue, but as Evan and I talked about yesterday on the show, which check out that interview if you haven't yet. It's packed full of all kinds of goodness on net neutrality and folk and punk music. It's my kind of interview. Issues I'm passionate about and great music. That's really, at the end of the day, I just want that to be the tagline of this show. Important issues, great music. Boom. That's it. That's really all that we need to fuel us. Important issues, great frickin' music. Ola from Costa Rica, Brian. Great White Shark. God, best screen name ever. Great White Shark. I don't, you know what, actually, I don't want to say, that's not fair to everybody else. Great White Shark, you really knock it out of the park. But Elephants on Coke, that's another good one. You all have great ones. Mine's just Ron Placone. That's all I got. It's not much. It's just like whatever. What kind of music, though? Jinxana, you know what? The older I get, and I know this is a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's kind of true. There's two types of music in this world, good music and bad music. I try to migrate to the good stuff. And a lot of you guys have turned me on to music I wasn't aware of. You guys turned me on to Kurt Vile. You turned me on to Courtney Barnett. You turned me on to Sage Francis. Some of the stuff that I never really, Hi from Tokyo, Ron. Great meeting you in LA last year at the TYT Sweet 16 party. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, great meeting you too. That was a fun night. Daniel says, yes, Ron. Word. Yeah. Flood predictions. Spring dams are bursting all over the Midwest. Tweet me an article on that. We will do that tomorrow. Tim, Beto's band, oil chugs and the butt plugs. That's awesome. What do you think about the band Local H, says Jesse? I appreciate them. I'm not crazy fluent in their catalog. I know they have a diehard following, which I think is really cool. I know that local H fans are very diehard and they travel to see them, and I really like that. I appreciate that. I mean, local H is still doing their thing, and I think it's Chicago where local H lives, or somewhere in the Midwest. But yeah, I know local H, and Jesse, I don't know if you're among those diehards, but I know local H has like a diehard following, which I think is really cool. So, but I'm not crazy familiar. I did a show with a guy that was a diehard local H guy. Here's how diehard he was. So we did this private event. It was a corporate event. Well, no, it wasn't a corporate event. It was an RV club. So it wasn't a corporate event, but it was kind of like a big event. But it was for an RV club. And anyway, we after the show, it was a little early, the show. So after the show, the headliner, who I did the show with, drove to a local H show. Because he was like, I can still catch the end of their set. He drove to a local H show in the area. It was like an hour away. After he did his set, he drove to a local H show. And he invited me to go, but at the time, I was like a broke road comedian, so I did not have enough money to buy a ticket. You know, I pretty much needed every penny I was making from the gig, so I didn't go. I would have liked to, but yeah, I could not afford to go at the time. But yeah, anyway, so those are my thoughts on local H. Guys, we are totally out of time. I got to end early today. I apologize for that, but I have a taping I have to go to. That's going to be on the radio in Los Angeles. So, guys, thank you so much. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, patreon.com/RonPlacone for a give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content, including a bunch of stand-up videos. And, you know, you help keep this show on the air. You help me expand the show. I've been doing some bonus streams. I want to continue that. But I need this show to be sustainable to do that. So if you got an extra $1 a month, want to throw it my way, that's awesome. If not, no worries. I get it. Like and share these videos, please. If you can, watch the ads all the way through. Even just kind of put it on autoplay, let it play through. That does help all of us indie media content creators out. When you do that, it really helps us out a lot. The likes, the shares, you get the drill. Tour dates. I'll shout out some tour dates. Texas, get your tickets. Graham Elwood and I are coming next month. April 12th through 15th. We're going to Fort Worth. We're going to San Antonio. We're going to Houston. We're going to Austin. Get those tickets. May 1st, I'm going to be in Indianapolis. That's just me. But I'm going to be in Indianapolis solo show. Tickets at ronplacone.com for that. April 19th, by the way, Boulder Creek, California. First house show of the year. If you want to attend that show, email me at ronplacone.com. June, we're coming to the East Coast. Graham Elwood and I are coming to the East Coast in June. We're going to be in New York City, Baltimore, D.C., Philly, Boston, Mass. Tickets available at ronplacone.com. And May, we're coming to Salt Lake City and Boise. Boom. You know the drill. And there's going to be more tour dates. We're announcing them all the time. There will be more tour dates. Albuquerque is on the list. I saw a couple people for Albuquerque. D.C., I will see you in Houston, and I'm stoked. I'll see you real soon. And yeah, we're adding dates every day. So, guys, thank you so much for being part of this. Got to log off early today, but it was cool to have some good breaking news. Breaking news, the Save the Internet Act passed the committee. That's good. We still got a long way to go. But this was some good progress. This is some good news. Plenty of bad news today, too. You know, just another Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same channel, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on YouTube. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show, meaning I couldn't do the show without you guys sending me what's going on in the world. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for keeping me sane.